husbandhood and fatherhood are roles that God expects to be performed by men. But one of the problems that we have done, we have taken these roles and have given them to people who are not men yet, but who are mere males. Sama kahle masane? Mhlawumbe yesixhosa sithathe these responsibilities that are meant for amadoda sazinika amaduna. Now there's a difference between being a male and being a man. The truth is, I can't stand here and say anything about being a male because I did not choose to become a male. I was born a male. We don't choose to become males. We are born males. But becoming a man, I believe, and we might touch on this later on in the afternoon, becoming a man, I believe that is in fact, even becoming a husband and becoming a father, as I've said earlier on, these are just roles. In fact, they are events. You can wake up without being a father, or you can go to bed without being a father and wake up in the morning being a father, literally. And you can wake up without being a husband, but go to bed being a husband. Being a husband can be nothing more than just a legal transaction that you've just said I do. And being a father can be nothing more than just a biological transaction. But manhood is a spiritual transaction. We become men only when we start to walk with God. So manhood is a lifetime process that commences when we start walking with God as males. I wish I could talk about the life of Joseph and show that from Ebomingake. And so God expects these roles of fatherhood and husbandhood to be performed by men. And the reason we have so many deadly dads and fatherly failures is that, as I've said earlier on, we've taken these roles and have given them to just males. So we're going to talk about that now. Genesis chapter 3 verse 9 as we start. That's really what we're going to be talking about today. Where are the men? In fact, as I was thinking about what do I love topics, I love titles. As I was thinking, what do I entitle this presentation? I thought about men, where are you? Or whatever happened to men. You know, whatever happened to men. And but I wanna entitle it, "Will the real men please stand up?" I like that one because I pulled my daughter. The truth is that and we know who sinned first. But something very interesting is that when God comes, NIV makes it very clear. He says God calls out to the man and asks him, where are you? Yeah. No. Now the reason God calls to the man is because man is responsible. Now you can't be responsible without being held accountable. Now as we're trying to fix the problems that we face in our world and in our families, it is always important to remember that at the heart of our society, at the heart of our world is the continents. The continents are made up of countries. Countries are made up of cities and countries, and towns. And cities are made up of families. And there at the heart of families, there are people that God has given them responsibility. And it is men. And now it's very important for men and even the whole family to remember that families did not vote for us to lead the house. I am not the leader of my home because my family voted for me. And I think that's very important for men, because sometimes we don't make decisions because they are unpopular as if we were voted to become men. This is a source of security for any man to know that I am a father here, I am a husband, maybe husband when somebody voted for you, but that I am a father, I am a man here, so I can make even unpopular decisions. That should not threaten who I am because nobody voted for me. But we will talk, we'll get closer. But one of my favorite statements that I think we should start with is the greatest one of them, well, is the one of men. She goes on to say, I hope you guys still believe in Ellen White. You know, there are churches where it is no longer politically correct to quote Ellen White. But this book says, the greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who will not be bought or sold. Men who, she says, in their inmost souls are true and honest. Men whose conscience is as true to duty as a needle to the pole. And men who will call sin by its right name. You know, it's one thing to call sin by name. She says, by its right name. See, forget where it is no longer politically correct to call. In fact, I read a book that says, whatever happened to sin? Have you noticed we don't talk about sin anymore? We talk about shortcomings, weak points, points of growth. My shortcoming in Wetile. In fact, we have even got to a point where I call it the euphemization of sin, where we use euphemisms to refer to sin. I started to talk about extramarital relationship. Extramarital relationship. People are no longer dishonest, they are economical with the truth. They are moving in. We've gone to a point where it is no longer politically correct to talk about sin. In fact, one of the problems with our society is that nothing is wrong anymore. The only thing that is wrong is to say that something is wrong. Now, we and I understand that we're living in this politically correct society. I understand when Parliament can't talk about sin. I respect that. When schools can't talk about sin, I respect that. But I've got a problem when we also in the church can't talk about sin anymore. Let me be bold and say that a church that cannot pronounce against sin is no longer a church, it's a society. Because there's a lot of in Matthew 18, you shall call his name, Matthew chapter 1, verse 21, his name shall be called Jesus, because he shall save his people from their weaknesses? No. From their shortcomings? No. But from their sins. Sin is the problem that Christ left heaven to come here. So Ellen White says, men who will call sin by its right name. Now, one of the problems we as the church no longer speak against sin now is that now even those who are supposed to speak against sin, they can't. Because I have money president says why am I about? Watch it work. And then she closes by saying, men who will stand for the right, though the heavens fall. Oh, men who will stand for the right. Let me share these statistics with you. These are very disturbing. They say 83% of people arrested for serious crimes are men. They say a man is 2,500% more likely to end up in a state prison than a woman. And of course, now men live 5 to 10 years less than women. So you would think that they would be in less. See, like men, it has always been the case, men live 5 to 10 years less than women. And we had an explanation where I come from. There's lotion. Oh my God. That was the explanation. That's why they live longer. But of course, that is not the truth, isn't it? Now listen to this. 87% of drunk drivers are men. Men are more apt to die from cancer, strokes, and heart attacks than women are. Men are the ones who die in 75% of all suicides. Men commit 85% of all murders in the world. The picture is bigger. Men are in trouble. And let me say this. The reason we have a presentation about men and on men this morning is not because of male chauvinism. But it is out of a realization that our societies are not safe as long as men are not changed. In fact, somebody put it so beautifully that at the center of the word women and humanity is the word men. So if you want to save women and humanity, start with men first. Let me be quick to say also, the truth is that it is not easy to be a man. You guys might not know this. Women might not know. It's not easy to be a man. It's even worse to be a black man. No wonder, I think our own Martin almost prophetically said, black men, you're on your own. And I think as a church, that in passing, as a church, we have a responsibility to speak against societal ills. It is our responsibility as a church. Sikhalime xa kwenziwa isono. Sikhalime xa when there is domestic abuse, when there is alcohol abuse. That is our responsibility. But we also, as a church, have an even bigger responsibility to speak against those things that make such behavior attractive. It's not enough to speak against alcohol abuse, but we also need to speak against societal injustices as a church. Why do we have more black men having alcohol troubles? Is it because I'm only level? Why do we have more black people die from HIV/AIDS? Is it because they are more promiscuous? Think again. The point is this: when we speak against this, and we should as a church should speak against such things, such behavior. But we also as a church have a responsibility to move from cause to effect. Yes. All right. So the reason we have this presentation is not out of male chauvinism, but it is out of a realization that if we are going to see a change in our society, it will have to start with men. Is that okay? Right. And I think we have a responsibility as a church to come up with a definition of manhood that will be used for every male, an old one and a young one. Because if we don't come up as a biblical definition of manhood, because if we don't do that as a church, then our boys will make their own definitions. They will think that the number of women that they sleep with makes them men. They will think that if I was that makes them men. They will think that the fatness or the bigness of the bank account or the bigger the car, that makes them men. We as a church, we need to come up with a definition of what it means to be men. For us to demand our males to be men. Because you can't be something that you don't know. Is that okay? Also, for our girls as well. They don't even know what to pray for because they don't even know what they should pray for. What has got dimples got to do? What has dimples got to do with raising a family? The six-pack. What has that got to do? No. I'm not saying those things are important, but and the reason they are even praying for those things is because they don't know what they should be praying for. They don't even know what they should be looking for in men, in potential husbands. They don't even know what to look for in a man because they don't know what it is to be a man. Because we also as men don't know what it means to be a man. Now, what I want to do, I remember Chuck Swindoll in the book Growing Strong in Family Life. He asked these questions. I like them. Remember when men were men? Remember when you could tell by looking? Remember when men knew who they were, liked how they were, and didn't want to be anything but who they were? Remember when it was the men who boxed and wrestled and bragged about how much they could bench press? No, now, what I want to do, I remember Chuck Swindoll in the book Growing Strong in Family Life. He asked these questions. I like them. Remember when men were men? Remember when you could tell by looking? Remember when men knew who they were, liked how they were, and didn't want to be anything but who they were? Remember when it was the men who boxed and wrestled and bragged about how much they could bench press? Remember when it was the women who wore makeup and earrings? But now men wear them as well. Remember when it was the men who initiated contact and took the lead in a relationship, made lifelong commitments, treated a woman like a lady, and modeled a masculinity that displayed security and stability? Whatever happened to those men? Where are those men who would see a lady and decide to make an honest woman out of her by proposing to her and spend the rest of his life being faithful to her and her alone? Whatever happened to those men? Do we have any here? Now, basically what I want to share this morning in the presentation is what does it mean to be a man? Now, Ellen White says in the book Reflecting Christ, page 37, Christ is our ideal. He has left a perfect example for childhood, youth, and manhood. Christ is our example. In Evangelism 6:41, she says, "For to be a Christian is to be Christ-like. Jesus is a perfect pattern, and we must imitate his example. A Christian is the highest type of man." By the way, Jesus was neither a husband nor a father. But he was a man. He was neither a husband nor a father. but he was a man. So what we're going to do, we are going to be looking basically at his life and trying to extrapolate some lessons. Now these are the 5 things, there might be more, there might be less, that I think you should look for, young girls, in a potential husband. Because you want to marry a man, not a mama's baby. Yathi bakhona amadoda kanjani? Awumfuna umama. Umama. Asonwabanga kuba umama ngasaza phezulu. Lina liphele ikhaya ngenxa kamama. And we need to, mama, please cut the cord, the umbilical cord. Please cut it. Please, you've had your chance in life. All right, here is the first quality that I think we can learn from Christ. It's found in the book of John chapter 5 verse 17. Jesus said to them, "My Father is always at his work to this very day, and I too am working." Real men work hard. We have men who don't want to work, but they are looking. In fact, even their relationships are strategic and transactional. Ukhangela umuntu ozamsebenzela.
House husband.
And there are ways you can see. Somebody has just mentioned it. Once your potential husband does not call but sends you a please call. Balega. Makakufowunele, even if usebenzisa i-public phone, makafone, akakubhazi. Oh! But you are so desperate, you don't care. You are so desperate, ufuna umyeni, ufuna ucharge, you're so desperate, uzamtshela ngokunjalo, uzamondla kubomi bakhe bonke. Phofu ke athathe kwale moto uyisebenzelayo, okhangela amanye amantombazana ngayo xa uyokhangela wena. Ayinobazenze ikhaya lethu ezithu. Inobazenzeki apha. Look. All right, let me build on this. Real men work hard. There are people who think that work is a curse. Oh God. Umsebenzi is not a curse. In fact, umsebenzi was there even before sin was there. But of course, the truth is this, that after sin came, the tone of umsebenzi changed. Now it was no longer pleasant. But work as a principle has always been there. And one of the things that we see from the life and the example of Christ and in God's design is that men should work. In fact, when you get married as a man, you are looking for a life partner. The assumption is that you already have life. You need a helper. What should she help you with when you've got nothing to do? Ungumncedi, andithi ungancedwa ithi kunto yenzayo. Awuthi kancede. Uhleli phansi. Anganceda umuntu kwinto busy nayo. Sonke benani. Number one. So one of the signs of real manhood is that a man works hard. Now let me be quick to differentiate between working hard. In fact, it's closer in mind. Indoda inentsebenzo. Now, he may not have a job, but he's resourceful. Because somebody, he may not have control over whether he gets a job or not, but he certainly does have control over whether he's resourceful or not. In fact, uPaul was known ukuthi indoda engaphangele bangathini bayingathina ukuthi no uthi indoda engenansebenzo xa ungaphangeli noko makabuye inkosikazi emsebenzini ihadi uqaqa bakutata bekhaya nezitya ziklini ungahlali apha imini le yonke kuba into bale ungutata kodwa awuzinansebenzo siyafana ne. So kumahluko phakathi komsebenzi nensebenzo. We're not saying a man needs to have a job for him to be a man, but a man needs to be resourceful. Number one. Number two, of course we don't have time to develop these things. Number two, Mark chapter 1 verse 24 says, in fact, the demons, what do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. Real men, look, the holiness depicts itself in two ways. And I'm not going to mention the other one, but the other one is a life of integrity. Now, a life of integrity basically means that, in fact, let me do this. The etymology of integrity comes from the notion of wholeness, where there is no difference between the ought and the is, where there is no difference between our rhetoric and our actions, between the creed and the deed, between the preaching and the practice. Because in the final analysis, as Emerson, the philosopher, put it so well, who you are is so loud in my ears that I cannot hear what you say. Yeah. Simply put, actions speak louder than words. Ellen White put it so beautifully. The most eloquent sermon that can be preached is a life lived consistently for Jesus. Now, holiness means there's a difference between integrity and honesty. Honesty, basically, you are aligning your words to reality. You are speaking the truth. But integrity, you are aligning your life to reality. You are aligning your life to your words. I normally make this illustration, and people laugh at it, but it's got so much truth in it. Do you know that who you are is the person that you are when there is no one watching you, when there is no one to impress? The websites that you go to in your room at night and then delete them, hoping that nobody finds them out, that is who you are. In the dark corridors of your heart, that is who you are. When there is no one to impress, because everybody can be a Christian, everybody can be good, but who you are is who you are. Awedwa. And I think we've done disservice to sin. We have reduced sin into just actions. But sins are more than just actions. In fact, we have to put it so very clear that you have heard that you shall not kill. But I say unto you, if you hate, you've already... I normally make this illustration. Joga, useveklen, usethilini, uzawuthenga. And then njengoba uzawuthenga, uzawubhatala. Usixotshe ngaphansi, yo, as 100 rand. ubheka-bheka akho mntu nawe. But kwinto ongayiqondiyo le 100 rand ibe kuwe. But awuyazi wena. And then ubheka-bheke. And then you quickly pick it up. Ifake epokothweni. Do you know you have stolen? Seriously, you've stolen. Because the issue is not the action, but the issue is the motive. The pen of inspiration talks about sins that we would have committed had we had the opportunity. All you needed is an opportunity. And real men are holy. Let me come close to our girls, because we need to be balanced a bit. If you are looking for a holy husband, you've got to marry a holy boyfriend.
What?
Let me come closer. If you are looking for a holy husband, you've got to marry a holy boyfriend. Now, this basically says that there are things that you can't do with your boyfriend if you want him to be a holy husband later on. In fact, one of the greatest securities in a home is when the father of the home walks with God, is when the father of the home is holy. I normally say when I speak to men alone, Jongaman, let your wife sometimes find you on your knees. There is a stability that comes with knowing that Utata is a praying man. Makati moskazi xa evuka ebusuku to those who are married, aphatha awukho aphakame ave kuno ondumzelayo afike uguqe phansi uthandaza. Oh, bazalwane. By the way, to a woman that walks with God, that is romantic.
Hallelujah.
To a woman that, look, I normally, for me, there is nothing that is as precious as when I'm away at work or a business trip or something, my wife calls me and then she says, look, I've just prayed for you. Don't tell me you miss my smile. No. Tell me, look, I've just prayed for you. Now, let me get closer to our girls. If you want, I've said that before. What that basically means is that never cause your man to sin. Maybe cause is not the right word, but never partner with your man in sinning. So, if you sleep with him today, and you both know that it's wrong to sleep before you get married, but you sleep with him, what do you think is going to stop him from sleeping with somebody else when you are married tomorrow? In fact, you don't have a right, if you have taught your boyfriend, your man, to disregard his conscience while you guys are still dating, you don't have a right to cry to God later on when he's cheating on you when you are married. Because you taught him, you need to be able to say to God, because before Sichade, we did not do this Mlanai. We were not doing this Mlanai. All right. Okay, let's quickly. So, because there's no point, look, the truth is that we need to challenge our men to be holy, but we also need to challenge our girls to demand holiness from their potential husbands. Seven, look for a man that loves and fears God more than he loves you. Because when that happens, then you know your relationship is safe. Okay, I've got 5 minutes to wrap up. Put you. Oh. Come to me, Matthew 11:28. All you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle. With that white, with that education 425. Christianity will make a man a gentleman. Real men are gentle. Look, we don't have time. Let me quickly say, a man who beats a woman is a sissy. Serious. Never use strength to hurt somebody who is weaker than you. And I know our women can be daring. I was without team. Without team. But Magaya's Choga, wena usile, and you deserve umbetwa, but alizombetwa. Elisa wadi wakubetha kusuba ngiyaboyika manje uthixo. Full stop. Ngiphelele apha. Now also to be gentle, I don't know, what does it mean to be gentle? To be gentle is close. Ubalinene, madoda, does not mean ukunyaba.
Yeah.
Are you talking about it? Do you know? To the married ones, let your wife, I've got to say this very carefully, while you should never beat your wife, and you should never beat your wife, but your wife should never take it for granted that you will never beat her. Yes. And how do you strike a balance? I don't know, but you've got a responsibility. Because once she will not appreciate it. You've got to find a way to communicate. But never do it. I don't know. Oh, I wish we could talk about loving and all that. But I also know, I'm closing now, I've got 3 minutes. I also do know that men, yes, Amadota can be especially educated ones. You don't need to physically beat somebody to be abusive to them. Aphele umfazi siphele inwele. Aphele phambi kwakhe aphele ngamazwi nje. Ufike umjonge, ufike kuye. Yazi akhonza can be very cruel. Yazi le nkosikazi uyasebenza kwakhe so ulate namhlanje afike endlini ngakho ungakhonzayo. Ngohlakela amadoda akhonzayo. Afike endlini lo nkosikazi uza kundipheka le ndoda afike endlini selitshonile ilanga ngolosihlanu so uza kwenza imbiza ekhawulezileyo afike umyeni iyaphi ngesabatha wena ucabanga ulelo umgqibile lo mfazi umonzakalisile. So when we say Don't use strength. We also mean do not use financial strength to abuse others. Do not use the fact that you are the breadwinner in home. Do not use the fact that you are physically stronger or that you are more educated. Because the problem with the borrowing strength is that it builds weakness. Now, it builds weakness, number one, on you as a person who borrows strength. Because kaloku ukuba funeka ukhumbuza abantu ba ngumutata ukuze umanyelwe. Kwaye funeka ukhumbuza abantu ba nguwe oza nemali endlini ukuze imanyelwe. Then you are in trouble. Pray that this wife never works. Because the day she does not need your money, then your influence is gone. So when you depend on anything outside of yourself to exert influence on your family, then you are in trouble. Let your family follow you because of your character, not because you earn more, or because you are more educated, or because you are older, or because you are more powerful. But let them follow you because they are convinced that you love them. Even if what you are saying does not make sense, but they are convinced that it comes from a position of love. So it builds weakness on you as a person who depends on that strength, number one. But it also builds weakness on the person you are exerting the strength on. Because you don't allow them to grow. They never do anything because they want to. But because they're so yika, once their rights will be taken away from them. But it also builds weakness on the relationship. Oh, we don't have the time. Let me close. I just very treasure. 8:30. I even says close 8:30. You don't know 8:30 is close. I see that. But we will develop. We will talk more about this in the afternoon, and then hopefully we're going to have presentation. Questions and comments from you guys.